there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
We need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Truck song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was Midnight Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 182, and I am Adam Choi. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe there. I definitely appreciate that. Like the show, share the show, all that stuff. I'll get out an audio version of this episode later tonight, tomorrow for sure as well. We're on Odyssey. We're on iHeartRadio, all those things as well. Patreon.com/TTB podcast. If you'd like to support, that's definitely super appreciated as well. Got some good rewards in there, helpful causes that you can support that go beyond the podcast itself and myself supporting Mr. Holland's Opus. But we got a whole nother cause to support as well on this episode, and to recap and talk about, of course, Soulshine. Before that, I did want to thank Kathleen, Stacy, Troy, Daniel, Mariah, Bo, and Marion for supporting. But let's get into Soulshine, the hurricane relief and recovery concert benefit this past, what was that, Sunday night? And we got a bunch of people here who were there. Big group tonight to talk about it. I was watching the stream on, was it Dave Matthews' YouTube channel that had it. But let's bring in Bob, Randy, Tracey, Chris, and first timer Rebecca to the show. We got everybody here. Now we got everybody here. What is cooking?
Nice.
Everybody sees me and hears me. We're fighting through this is why it's good, but we all popped on early. I appreciate that, and to get settled in and work through the technical difficulties the best we can. It's always everything is always a challenge, but that's part of the journey, I guess. Why don't we start with Rebecca? Thank you for coming on and joining me. We've been messaging a little bit here and there recently. I get you're a hardcore TTB fan. Why don't you refresh me and tell the audience what your sort of TTB origin story, your musical background, all of that.
Okay, so I got into TTB actually through my dad. He introduced me to them back like around 14, 15 and started listening to them then, but actually was not able to see them live until this year. So I hit up 4 shows on the Deuces Wild tour, my last 2 being both nights at the Cap, and then was able to see them this weekend again at Soulshine. So it was really cool. And thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, of course. So your first show you said was this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my first show was at CMAC, then I hit up Bethel, and then both nights at the Cap.
Which venue? Which was CMAC is
Canandaigua. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. So tell me a little bit about that. Like the first time that must have stood out to you.
Well, it was nice to finally see them. So I with COVID and everything, I wasn't able to travel for a while. So to be able to see them for the first time, and then a weekend later, the first show went so well, I was like, you know what? I just hopped right on Ticketmaster and went down to Bethel because I live in upstate New York. So I was able to hit up Bethel, and then I had purchased tickets for the Cap earlier in the year during the Swamp Family presale. So after the Cap, I was like kind of bummed. I'm like, oh, that's it for the year. I'm not going to see him again. And then a week later, Soulshine came out. I'm a huge Dave Matthews Band fan. So they had posted the little teaser on Dave and Warren's Instagram, and I was already going to see Dave at Madison Square Garden. So I was like, oh, well, what's one more day? And I hopped right on Tedeschi Trucks to see what their end of tour schedule looked like. And I said, wait a minute, they have a free day. And I know what they did last year at Madison Square Garden. So I said, I bet you they might show up. And I went right on to the Tedeschi Trucks fan page and I said, what are the odds you think Derek and Susan might show up at this? And so there we are. And
so you predicted that before they even were announced for the event. You're solving this.
Yeah.
You're on it. That's smart. Well, you said you've been kind of following them for a while since but you hadn't had a chance to see them.
Yeah.
But that is kind of my advice. Like, if you just happen to discover them, dive in right away. Go to as many shows as you can right away. Because when I first got started, part of me almost felt like an idiot going to more than one show. I'm like, why do I need to go to all 3 shows when they're in Vegas? Why would I do that? That seems a little crazy. But looking back, go to as many as you can. That's kind of the rule of thumb. Where are you right now, by the way, Rebecca? Frozen? She might be frozen. I don't know.
We're the same. So
what's that?
I was frozen. Sorry.
I was just asking where you are. Yeah, I was just asking where you are.
Frozen.
Well, maybe we have to move. We'll move on. Maybe come back, and we'll get her back in. Maybe she'll be refreshed. Randy, where are you? You're back home.
Yeah, it was an easy hour Long Island Railroad trip in for me to MSG and back home, back at it.
So you you went to this show by yourself?
No, I went to the show with my wife.
Nice.
And then we had a bunch of friends meet us there this time around. A lot of people seemed interested in seeing the all-star lineup that it was. I had a lot of people going for the first time. The first time they kind of saw Tedeschi because they were either friends of fans of Dave or fans of another band that was there. So and shockingly, everybody came out of it was like, that was incredible. I could see why you see them as often as you do. But everybody was terrific from start to finish. I thought, I was, when you saw the lineup announced, I thought it was really, for me, it was like heaven because I'm a big Goose fan and I'm also a big Nathaniel Rateliff fan. So for me, it was like, and then I didn't really know how much Derek and Susan were going to play. And obviously, being on this podcast and the fandom, I was totally thrilled with how much airtime they got. I thought it was, besides any of the 4 main headlining acts, I thought they had, just as much time as really some of them in just different, sections because they did the acoustic sets and Derek sat in so often with so many of the guests. So I was so pleasantly surprised with the amount of Tedeschi action that we got at this thing, which was really, like I said, it was like I called it like halftime after Warren set. Because it was really 4 quarters, right? It was 4 main acts, and then
right.
So it was you're in a basketball arena, so you're it was halftime after Warren's, and I was like that was a show in itself, and then then Susan and Dave open up with Angels from Montgomery to start what I guess would be the second half, which was just just outrageous night of music, so much talent on that stage. And you could tell they were all so happy. I mean, obviously I've watched the videos on YouTube, which you could clearly see so much better than being in there. But they all look so joyous and love playing with each other. The collaboration was next level. That whipping post is just playing in my head nonstop.
Unreal.
Yeah.
That
definitely shined through at home. For sure.
Yeah.
That was a moment.
Watching it and showing it to anybody who will give me a few minutes of their time, the last few days, and rewatching it over and over because, from the moment Dave and Warren did Soulshine, it was how is this night not going to just be incredible? Really,
Absolutely.
It was, and then Come Together. I'm a gigantic Beatles fan, so really from start to finish. Everything in between, just really next level, amazing. Really, all-star game. If you like to see the best of the best in one, I'm I want one of these a year now. Can we get an all-star game every year?
Well, Warren's Christmas Jam, I guess, is what.
Yeah,
is what I guess that people have been talking about that. But even though you describe it as 4 quarters and a halftime, but there wasn't really a long intermission at all. If I remember, there were the documentaries on.
Yeah, exactly right.
They played the documentary vignettes probably at the venue also in between the
Mhm.
performances while they were setting up. But there was no break longer than 15.
No,
or
they were
20
really
minutes
smart
max.
the way they did the acoustic set so they could keep the music rolling.
That's a good
So
point.
they could set the different acts up on stage while they still had one speaker going for, and it worked really well. I thought the transition being there, everyone that was there, I'm sure maybe would concur, but
it was seamless.
it wasn't a lot of air, maybe 10 minutes and nothing, very, very seamless transitions.
No, the video on the YouTube. I think I have all that linked in the video for the YouTube. The YouTube video for this. But I think it's like 5+ hours. But it's almost all music for the most part. I mean, maybe probably less than an hour of that is.
I think it starts like 45 minutes into. You're right. It was 7 to 12. I mean, I caught a 12:30 train. It was 7 to 12. It was 5 hours of music, pretty much.
Yeah. Bob, you're back home in Jersey?
Yep, back home in Jersey.
And you took the train as well, and you were telling
me.
Yeah,
I'm in South Jersey, so my train ride's a little longer. I'm about 2 hours. 2-hour train ride.
And you ended up staying in the city Sunday night. I'm
an old man. 5-hour show. I'm staying home. I'm staying around. I could barely walk I was so exhausted. I barely walked the 3 blocks of the hotel.
It's funny you say that because when you told me, you were staying around the venue, I looked that up. I'm like, where did he actually stay? How far was it? Because I love to live vicariously through you guys. So I'm like, where did Bob stay? How was his train? Who drove in? Who was the traffic like? This, it's all colors in the experience as much as the night it rained in Chicago and then they opened their show with Rainy Day, like that kind of stuff. It paints the picture and tells the story of the experience, so I can live vicariously through you guys. And where are you, Tracey? You're back home as well?
I'm back home in Connecticut. I took the train. It's about a 2-hour train ride from here.
And Chris, where are you?
Massachusetts, Franklin.
And you drove or had you?
I drove in, you know me. So I drove in.
Hopefully you didn't drive home.
Oh no! I stayed at the New Yorker. That's like daggily nice. Less than a 3-minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had a shorter walk than I did.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you could have crawled there.
Oh, yeah, it was closest, one of the nicest. Well, it's a cool hotel, but it's really close, and it's connected to a diner. So went in, had breakfast, went to my room, went to bed.
Nice.
Yeah. Good old TikTok.
It must have been I was gonna say it must have been it must have been an interesting like you were saying, even Randy, that like the mixed crowd, a lot of people there for the other bands and acts, but just like the fact that it drew in like you guys who, from what I gather, are pretty hardcore TTB fans. They're at the top for you guys, near the top. Derek and Susan's at near the top. So we got people coming in from Long Island, Massachusetts, Jersey, taking trains, driving in to see a show that's not even technically headlined by Derek and Susan. So it's just interesting. You're probably getting a lot of passionate people. Like you're probably getting the all-star music fans from the different bands as well, because you have to really love an artist to want to pay money, I guess, for a show, even when it's a good cause, obviously. But
like Randy, all of the acts for me were a dream act, because I had just gone to see Goose in DC at the Anthem about 2 weeks prior, and I've been watching them on Nugs forever, and that was my first Goose concert down in DC. It was fantastic. I'd seen Warren Haynes up here in Philly do the Last Waltz, and the only act I hadn't seen really was Dave Matthews, other than some of the Robert Randolph and Trombone Shorty, Mavis I had never seen before. So but the 4 main acts of the 4, I had seen 3 of them. And of course, Dave, Hall of Famer, he knew it was going to be great.
I know. I went mostly for the collaboration. I saw everybody who was in there, and I was just like, you're going to see stuff that you're never going to see again,
Yeah.
And probably the last time I saw Dave Matthews was probably 95 or 96 back in the New Orleans Jazz Festival. That was the last time I saw it.
I had seen him on Farm Aid, but I hadn't seen Dave Matthews Band since the 90s.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep, that was great. But I'm a big fan of Nathaniel, so that was really great. That was a fun set.
Yeah, I thought
Mavis and
Oh,
that was
Mavis,
incredible.
Yeah.
She's a
When I saw the bill announced, there was 7 artists that I've paid for individually this year to see in under one roof.
Yeah.
Joe Russo being the by him, but
Oh yeah, and Trey.
that Shakedown Street, I still like.
Oh yeah,
so
That
good.
was great.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, that was
It
great.
So
I'd be
fun.
playing in my head all night, just all the music, and then seeing his face when on it. Watch the video when they go into Shakedown. He gives the other drummer such the biggest like smile you ever seen in your life, and he looks like he's having the greatest time of his life.
You talking about Derek?
It was phenomenal.
I feel like that was everyone all night. It was all
I agree.
Derek, Sue, Warren, like everybody. It was just the whole.
Wasn't me? I mean, we're all huge TTB fans, right? Was it me? It was Sue, like a little giddy. Like she was
she was happy.
It was a little more
I wanted to
joking
point
than
that
she
out
was at
because
the TTB shows. Yeah.
I didn't know who Bob, you were behind me at the cap. I remember talking to you, but there was like at the cap, that's right when the hurricanes had happened. And she announced on stage, like, please, keep everybody in your thoughts. Our children are there right now. Bobby's family.
Right. She mentioned Bob. Yeah, Bobby specifically. Yeah.
And there was just like this night 2 at the cap. Like you could feel the heaviness to it. Like we had watched the news during the day. We had seen what was going on. So the last time I had seen her there, to see her at Soulshine, it was like, she could truly enjoy herself. Like you could see the worry was lifted off of her, and just the constant smiling and happiness and her dancing and everything. It was,
her dress.
Yeah.
Her dress.
Oh my God.
when she came out with Nathaniel and kissed Derek on the cheek.
Yeah, on the cheek.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, she was the only one. She was the only female. I mean, I know Mavis did the one song, right?
Besides
But
Mavis.
she was the only woman in the bill, and it was like, and yeah, she just the normal Susie crushed it, and I think Nathaniel Rateliff, I think he fell in love that night. Every video, she's like, he's like arm in arm, smiling as can be. I'm like, Nathaniel fell in love like we all did with Susan, like and it's so great when they did the wait together. That was another next level song for me.
Yeah, the same for Pete and Rick from Goose. I mean, they were just, and their first time in MSG, they were so excited. You could just tell that it was electric. It really was.
Yeah, when they brought on Derek for Hunger Side, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, could you believe that? Was that awesome or what?
They were so good. The section I was in, so I was on the floor the night before for Dave Matthews, and I was up in the nosebleeds for this show, and I kind of wish it was reversed. But the section I was in was a very large Goose fan section. So when they came out, I mean, I've heard of them, I've seen their stuff, but I had never seen them in concert. And to see the response where you had just had Soulshine perform, then all of a sudden everybody's right up and screaming. At first I thought they were booing them, but they were saying, and I was like, oh, okay. But the difference in my section between fans. So at one point I had a row of younger guys in front of me that are all Goose fans. And then I was walking back from a bathroom break and I see somebody on their phone Googling who Derek Trucks was and looking through their Wikipedia page and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, I was kind of doing the same with Goose.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably discovered some new music that they didn't know that night. Makes it definitely special.
Absolutely, sure. And that's it. They had like a little, I mean, Goose was definitely like the newer group of the crowd. So and a younger crowd base for sure. So everyone, and then some people you talk to, like Nathaniel Rateliff was maybe the oddball out because the other guys all like shred, like Rick shreds, Derek, Trey, everyone, and it's like Nathaniel Rateliff's not his style at all. It was like, for me, it was everything I listened to. So it was like, this is outrageous. I loved all the different styles. And I thought that the collaborations with one another were awesome. Like Trey and Dave Matthews at the end of the show, which was like the fourth quarter of the show is, doing Waste. Awesome. Really, really good. Like, and then they did Lie in Our Graves together. And I know Derek did that with him last year. But basically Trey did that whole part and they did it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, it can't even fit on the whole screen really.
There's a lot of music.
There were so many great moments. The 700 houses. I mean, all the Derek and Susan moments. Of course.
Don't you do it? Don't you do
Yeah.
it with
Don't do it.
Fantastic?
And it's cool because the drummer in Goose, so he used to be in the band cover band. So like he was like really into that song. I don't know, a lot of people probably don't really maybe know that, but he was.
I didn't know that, Randy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Cotter was that's his former band before he joined Goose. So
how about that?
it was really cool and then awesome. Like her and Rick smiling at each other doing that song was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough to meet Carter. I was lucky to get a seat right behind GA, the pit.
Yeah.
So the first row, that was me right behind there. And I was where the entrance are. So the people were like the artists coming in. So I saw Carter and I motioned him over, and we actually have a friend that he knows it, and I have a good friend of him that we both know. And so we started talking, and then I asked him, how was it, being up there? He goes, it was fucking awesome. Dude. He was like smiling. He couldn't believe, he goes, it was the best feeling, to be, especially, that's Goose's first time playing.
I got a few friends who are Goose like lunatics, and they're a little jealous that I got to see them come out at their first MSG appearance.
MSG show.
I didn't even necessarily I thought about it maybe, but it was and their set was kind of short. They played like 30 minutes, and two of the songs were with Derek and Susan. So it was like I went in there wearing a Goose t-shirt and a Tedeschi hoodie. And it was like, I didn't think that was going to be the collab at all that night. I thought for sure like Trey would play with Goose. And
I thought the same thing.
With Warren. I love that they didn't do it pretty typical. They did, because obviously they could all play with each other seamlessly. And they did do different combinations than I necessarily anticipated.
Yeah, I did not. Same thing. I was like, well, it's going to be, Tab and Goose all over again in the beginning,
Yeah.
And I was shocked. Like, I had friends texting me going, Derek, Susan, like, did not see this coming. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is not. This
was a dream mashup. Dream mashup for me.
Then Dave.
You guys
comes
trying
out.
to figure out like a set list before you got there, like trying to like think ahead, like, okay, what would they do? Yeah.
Yeah, always.
They had. I was funny. I was sitting there waiting to get in, and I was like, "Well, it's obvious. The first song is Soulshine, right?" And everybody's like,
I thought it would be the last song.
They're like, "No way!" I'm like, "That's too." I'm like, "Come on!" The name of the benefit, Soulshine.
Yeah. I thought it would be everybody at the end, like they did come together. But
it's very guitar solo friendly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
they got us.
They did, but Trombone Shorty on "Come Together" at the end, and was
he stole the show.
So,
he was like the secret weapon.
Everybody was like huddled around him and everything. It was like show and tell at school, and he was getting the burn. It was really awesome.
I love seeing him. Always high energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Robert Randolph coming out, especially SOB.
Oh my God, that SOB was incredible.
Yep.
That was fun. Oh man, it's hopefully, and I think it will. There definitely is going to come an album of this because you can't. There's all that. People will buy. The buzz on this show is so huge.
Yeah.
That's all I saw on my feed is about the show. It'll be it'll be extra money for them to
exactly.
And I know this is going to be hard to believe, but like I ran into a few people like yourself, Rebecca. Maybe you could contest to this, but who did the 2 Dave previous nights, and obviously they said we're awesome, but everybody was like, not the few people I ran into that did both. They were like the third night was the best night. And in my head, I'm going, well, yeah, no shit, the third night was the best night. Like it was an all-star lineup, and I like Dave. He's not my favorite. I haven't been rushing to go see him, but it gave me an opportunity to see him. And when I tell you that guy's band. Tight as can be. Anybody who loves the Tedeschi and their horns and everything, and doesn't give Dave Matthews Band the chance.
I'm diehard for Dave Matthews, and I always make sure that I hit night 2 it. Yeah, I honestly and I hate to say this, his set was my least favorite of the night.
I agree.
And it was the songs that he chose from his own catalog to play. I'm like, you have so much more opportunity. Why aren't you, I thought for sure we would get Watchtower out of him because Derek being there and Warren being there. I thought, but I was like, really? We're gonna play, Tripping Billies again? Too much again. It was a nice surprise to hear that. I was very happy to see Trey get up there. I love Derek, but I hadn't seen Trey play Lie in Our Graves with him since I think it was 2007. So that was a really nice surprise. But I wasn't impressed with some of their songs. Yeah.
I love Trey, but go back and listen to the two versions of Lie in Our Graves, and you have that little bit of difference where Derek uses obviously his slide, and he makes it makes it weep a little more. I've done the comparison in the last few days, and the Trey version's fantastic, but it's not Derek Trucks doing Lie in Our Graves.
No, and that's where I was trying to predict. I was like, oh, we're definitely going to get Derek on Lie in Our Graves. I know that's coming. I know Watchtower's coming, and then I was like, what? But
I'm guilty by bias, you know that.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a guitar player as much as Derek Trucks that comes along that moves me as consistently as he does. David Flam talks about this all the time. I think this is it. I'm moved by all music, especially seeing it live. And there's so much great music that's coming out and that I'm discovering and rediscovering. But something about his guitar playing and how do you consistently move someone emotionally? Not just me, obviously, but all of us. That's just totally amazing how he has his own unique tone that he seems
Did you see on
style.
Goose's Instagram? It was taking Hunger Site, Derek Trucks taking Hunger Site to a whole nother level.
Was that the first time they've ever played together, Goose and
Derek? So they did in Mexico.
Yes.
They played on the same stage when they were in for the sand, playing in the sand. But I don't think they did much collaboration at that festival, if I remember. And
maybe because Rick played with Bobby there, but I don't think Bobby came out and played with them. But I don't know if Rick came out during.
I think Derek might have been on one track with them. Came out and did one, but it wasn't I think this was the first really basically them and Goose. It was, which was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you guys continue to steer the conveation. You guys were there. I'll jump.
Yeah, so I love when
let me know if you want me to pull up the set list or whatever. No, you guys, you guys are doing great. I don't have to do anything. That's why I have the whole group on. You guys just tell the story.
I thought the wait was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Man, there was just so many. It was every time I was like, that was incredible. That was magical. And then the very next thing, it was just the whole entire night. I could not believe at the end how long we had been there. It was the changeovers were seamless, like you were saying in the beginning, Randy, and you didn't really notice anything happening behind you. There was always something acoustic going on or one of the videos to watch, and just really everybody was happy. And like a friend of mine said to me today, that everybody's soul was shining that night. Anybody that was in that room, it was magical from beginning to end.
And it was fun how many people that were in our circles ended up there.
Yeah.
It just seemed like one after another. Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. And it was tough kind of coordinating some of the meetups. It really was.
Yeah. Everybody was posting pictures from every time we were getting on a train. So I'd go on Facebook and I'd see somebody else's picture on the train on my way there. Yep. It's quite the community.
I mean, at one point you're looking up on stage and I remember just going, oh my God, there is Derek Trucks. There's Trey. There's Dave Matthews. There's Warren Haynes. And there's Tim doing Sweet Melissa. And I'm like, what? That's those are heavy hitters. I mean, those are
that was a good surprise.
Probably the best living guitarists right now.
It's kind of the Mount Rushmore, Mount Shredmore of the group, right? I mean, I think so.
I was just going, you'll never see that. You'll never see that.
Did anybody see? So Robert Randolph had posted on Twitter that he was going to be playing a set with Jimmy Page during the concert.
Well, they were. Everybody was like, "There's been," because when I walked in, everybody's like, "Who's people coming in?"
Yeah,
and people were like, "I heard Jimmy Page."
Page.
Like,
yeah. So all night I was like, where would they fit him in? Where would they fit him in? So then with Dave, I'm like, maybe Fool in the Rain. But so like as the night kept going on, I'm like, I don't think Jimmy Page is here.
No. I thought Bobby might show up. Like, well, he might be around. He might show up.
Yeah.
But that was like the only one.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know if after Angels, if they were gonna, because like when they did Shakedown, you know, in New York City, when the Deads played at the Garden like that, I mean that place erupted. Like, I mean, it was like some people's posts, like when that bass drops on Shakedown, it really was like unbelievable in there. I didn't know if after Angels, if they were gonna go into a Sugaree and maybe like somebody like would come out from, you know, whether it was a Bobby or a John Mayer even, or somebody else that, you know. But they didn't do Sugaree.
It seems like they felt that.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, it seems like like they felt the energy of the crowd, and it seemed like I was saying, like a special crowd of like the greatest music fans, the all-star music fans from
today.
From all the different bands and stuff. So I think that like probably added to the whole mystique of it, because I'm thinking about actually like the Jeff Beck tribute that was in London, and that was a lot of great artists as well, and a lot of jamming and different collaborations and Hall of Famers and legends, and maybe it skewed a little older. But something about this, obviously, it wasn't a tribute show to someone who passed, but is somewhat of a tribute show and for a cause and a fundraiser and all that. But it had a very different vibe, I feel like, to.
It was Warren Haynes' Christmas Jam in New York City, basically.
But all the artists seems like they were friends, and it seemed like almost like a lot of the crowd was friends with each other, be it through this band or through overlap with other bands. So I think that's the whole like
they all just kept thanking each other. They all just kept thanking each other for showing up. Warren kept thanking Dave. Dave kept thanking Warren. They kept thanking everyone. Like they were, it almost seems like surprised, as if they're not great human beings in their circles. Like everyone's known this from these people.
I think it's more the timing. I think it's more the timing, and that they might just have other commitments. Like they're just not available. It's not that they don't want to help, and not that they don't love playing with each other. It's just like, holy shit, you happen to be available on that day. We're here. It's actually happening.
And it's so close to the holidays. Like you know, Thanksgiving's right down there, and people are traveling and going home and trying to get ready to, but able to pull this off. I mean,
there were probably lists of people that were asked that just couldn't make it, and you know, who knows who's Jimmy Page is on that list. What were you going to say before, Rebecca? I'll swing it back to you.
I was just talking about, like, for me at least, but I think the group would agree, the clear shift in energy once that bass line for Shakedown Street hit. Like that place just erupted. And again, like here's a situation where you can tell by what section you're in who they like, because I hate to say kids because I feel like I'm pretty young myself, but they're easily probably 20 years younger than me, and they're all looking at each other like, what's this one? And I'm like, oh man, come on. But yeah, the clear shift in the room when you heard that bass drop, and I was just like, oh yes. But and then that kind of set the tone for the rest of the night too.
Yeah, I mean it probably besides Carolina, go back to probably like the loudest sing along.
Yeah,
Shakedown Street.
Yeah.
I mean that was fun when Dave's like, all right, or one was like, this is a sing along. Everybody's singing, you know. But
it was cool. It was cool to see Warren and Derek do that new song together too. It was awesome.
Changes.
First time, I love seeing things I haven't seen at concerts before, and that was awesome. And you got Derek. I mean, like I said, it was like you got Derek and Susan. What seemed like every other song that one of them was coming out and was like, "This is a Tedeschi show. This is phenomenal."
No, that was a moment that Derek and Warren doing these changes. I think it's the new one off Warren's album. Yeah, that one hits me like
that was beautiful.
Really good.
Yeah, beautiful is the right word. I'm still looking for the words. 100.
And I love the like dueling guitars, but they're not like. I read a great article how they're not like. They never look at it as like a duel. They look at it as just like obviously obviously just them bringing out the best of each other. And somebody else I think posted on the app, like their chemistry, it's so undeniable on stage.
Right.
It's so natural, and it's just makes it even that much more amazing and seamless for them.
They do everything. They're able to play rhythms together. They share leads. They interweave with each other. They play rhythm for each other. They kind of can do it all. They both can play slide and it works and obviously the Allman Brothers connection and all that. And
I knew we were gonna get an Allman and Warren set. I just didn't know which one it was gonna be.
I didn't think Whipping Post. And
then that was that was really outrageous.
Because especially when I'm like, all right, there's two draws. I'm like, all right, Joe Russo's coming out. Then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, this shakedown. I'm like, all right. And he goes, oh, Joe Russo's coming in. I'm like, oh, definitely an Allman Brothers song coming in. Then also, the bass player just started kicking that off, and the place just erupted.
It was pitch perfect. It was intense. It was what do you call it? It was tight. It was very tight. Because we've all heard TTB do that and do snippets of that and parts of that. And I don't know, there's some changes and parts and things where I think that could easily go off the track with people who don't play the song a lot together. But it was super duper tight and otherworldly and one, right up there with any of the great versions I've ever heard of the song.
Yeah. I mean, the guys in the band, definitely Kevin Scott is a pro for sure. Bass player in Warren's band.
Yeah.
That was and Matt Slocum, he was Sue's key player for a long time back in Susan Tedeschi band.
Yeah, I was lucky to catch
Warren. Sorry, was anybody watching the gear and trying to figure out when they were going to come back out again? I kept watching to see whose amps were left on stage, and that's I was like, wait a minute.
Well, it was easy to pick out when what's his name was going to do the slide, because he was always Robert Randolph. You can always tell when he was going to come out.
Yeah. But I had more of a bird's eye view because I was at the very top. So watching, they have to give a shout out to the crew. All the techs involved in this, watching them and coming out in between each performance and seeing them and stuff, and watching from an aerial view of what was going on the sides of the stage and the back of the stage and front of the stage, and especially when they had to take off all the stuff after, I think it was Warren or Nathaniel Rateliff of the Night Sweats to bring out Dave's stuff. All the moving around and everything they had to do. I'm like, they had one day to get this all down because Dave ended the night before. So.
Did they do any rehearsal? Because that's
what I'm wondering, because Dave ended at around 10:30 on Saturday night. So you got to figure, I know some of them were in town because you could tell by their Instagram posts and stuff. So some of them were in New York City, but I don't know if they actually were able to get any practice in Saturday during the day or whatnot before Dave went back on.
Yeah, and one of those Instagrams, it looks like they're on stage and there's nobody in the it's but I can't imagine much practice time. I mean, it's like when they did the TTB at the Garden last year in September, right? And Nora Jones played with them, but it was a terrible rainstorm and she couldn't get into town. And they were like, "This is the first time we've ever sang that song together."
Oh yeah,
and it's just it's amazing when they haven't even been able to rehearse and it does.
I mean, it was Dave's stage from the night before. It was Dave's light show. I was watching it. I was like, oh, those were the same patterns from last night that were on the stage and stuff. But it was just really cool that they were able to do all that in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I was watching the video again this morning, and there's a shot of Goose, and it's a shot of the stage real quick, and there's probably over 100 different color tapes everywhere.
Yeah.
And each one is is them for where to put things.
Yeah,
it was just, I was just amazed.
You could see all the glow tape that was on the stage from where I was sitting. And I was just like, holy
what an operation.
Yeah.
For sure.
They were, all those guys, did a great job. I know it was also produced by Peter Shapiro. I saw him there.
Yeah.
And it was also Warren's wife that helped put together.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it for something, very quick to put together. They did an amazing job.
And for an amazing cause, easy to spend your money on merch when you know it's going to a good place. I loaded up on my Soulshine hat, and
I got my shirt on.
Yeah.
I was lazy. I did the poster.
Money.
I did the poster online today,
Nice.
and like I don't have to bring anything home. I'm fine.
No, it's a gorgeous poster.
Yeah.
They
Dude.
sold out real quick.
Oh, dude, that variant one.
No, this was the
bird.
was it a Phoenix.
Yeah.
The Phoenix one. When I was in line, the foils were gone immediately. Of that.
Oh, they were like, they went quick. But it was interesting. Like there were so many different areas. Like I didn't know where. Like you turn around, there's another merch booth.
Yeah, no, I
They
was
have a
nervous that it was not going to have a lot because of how quickly this was thrown together and the quality of. I mean, all the graphics were beautiful. A lot of good quality merch.
Yeah, really good.
That's impressive that this all came together like fairly quickly, as you guys are saying. It almost is like kind of, it's like it offers some hope and some comfort knowing that like, you know, this world is crazy. Something's going to happen. It's just something's going to happen to people again at some point that is unfortunate and not their fault. And people are going to need help and to be uplifted through music, through financial, through labor, through connection, through all these things. And to know that like the music we love and these people, you know, that we love that create this music are able to put this together, you know, so quickly. That's kind of like, you know, I feel like that's a hopeful, good sign about, you know, there's not a lot of positive stories out there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good to, I think.
Yeah, Dave said it best at the
this.
show. He said, thanks for putting a little love in a difficult world. You know?
He said a lot of things on that microphone that night.
Yeah.
Entertaining things.
He thanked everybody a lot. They thanked all of us, like every musician thanked the crowd. It was just the whole night was it was a vibe for sure. I'll never forget it.
It's, you know, I'll put it up there. I'm throwing the gauntlet. I'll put it up there with Lock-In, with Trey, you know, when they did Layla. Like that's a cool, but I mean, you'll never, like I said, when's the last time you saw Dave Matthews ever at a festival? It's been a long time. And so, and it's not like it used to be where you go to festivals and everybody's, you know, jumping off stage on stage and everybody does their sets and get off. We don't see these collaborations like we used to. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, there is no more Lock-In, which was a big, you know, collaboration show. You're not going to see something like this, you know, for a while. You know?
Yeah, I guess I didn't even expect how special it was going to be. Even just watching the stream, I'm like, oh, I get to see some Derek and Susan stuff. That's cool. But like, but even just the stuff that they did specifically, that's going to be stuff I'm going to be listening to and watching and playing back a million times. That's 700 houses, all this stuff.
So good.
You know, I think someone recorded the audio too on the archive. What's that?
Yeah, I've already watched the whole thing 3 times since I've been home.
Yeah,
3 times.
And then I came home.
I got it through once.
Crazy. You're all crazier than me. All 5 of you.
People have been texting me and DMing me, and everybody's watching it and sending me screenshots of them in their living rooms. And everyone I've talked to has been like, I'm telling everyone I know about this night. Anytime someone talks to me, I tell them about this concert.
Yep, same here.
I mean, there's got to be one band, one song, one act that they're gonna be interested in seeing. Even if you're like, oh, I'm a trombone player, I want to see trombone. Sure, like there's gonna be something in there that's gonna hook everybody in, and then you're gonna want to check out more of the show and maybe donate and support and get into these acts even that much more. It's up to about 300,000 views in a couple of days, which you know, it's all relative, but that's not nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, like I said, there's and plus it's at the Garden, so it's, you know, it's something special about playing in that area. You know, it's playing that venue and just something like that. I was thinking back when I was going in, I'm like, geez, this is, you know, where they had the, you know, after 9/11, where, you know, Paul McCartney pulled everybody together.
That show. That was a great show too. But
I mean, you don't see. I mean, like,
and they did. They pulled Paul McCartney in with "Come Together." They pulled Eric Clapton in with "Wonderful Tonight." They pulled in everybody that's killed the Garden in like their entire lives, and even if they weren't there, they paid homage like they always do.
Yeah, it's funny. We were in the hallways of Madison Square, and we walked by the wall there that showed the pictures of the benefit. And the buddy I was with, Brian, he says, tonight's going to be one of those nights. They're going to be talking about this one tonight. You just feel it. You could just feel the electricity in the room. You knew it was going to be a classic.
I agree.
I didn't leave my seat for 5 hours. I didn't get
it. Me neither. Didn't go to the bathroom not once. Didn't leave my seat.
Nope.
The only time I went to the bathroom is because I really thought that there was going to be a true break because they had the vignettes up on the screen. And 700 Houses starts. And I'm like,
you didn't get the thing
you had to rush back.
Yeah. There was going around before the show of like they didn't show you the songs, but it was like who was going to play at what times.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Tedeschi was doing Together. I didn't know what song they were gonna.
I didn't know either.
Yeah. So but yeah, there were things like that. But I said to my wife, I go, because we go a lot, and I go, I love that it's a benefit, and we could move around more freely, and I could use the bathroom, and I could get a drink, and I could do all those things that I don't do at a TTB show because I'm so focused on the music.
Yep.
I didn't leave my seat for 5 hours.
The one time I moved, I was like, darn it.
I
didn't move again. So.
I was going to say, of course, it's different circumstances with like the 9/11 tribute show, or and the Jeff Beck tribute show, depending on the circumstance and things like that. But I think, again, something about this show and the fans and the community aspect and how everyone kind of loves their individual band, and how all these artists through Warren and Dave all seem to have a connection, and a lot of them have these long-term relationships with each other. These bands, they've all come up through the 90s. I remember the 90s. I was there too.
You were there?
A little bit. I remember.
There's a lot of history between, I think, the fans, and a lot of history between the artists on stage, and that made it different and more accessible and intimate, I think, in a way that's besides the circumstance of the event, but even different than the 9/11 show and the Jeff Beck tribute, like per se, because like those obviously had like, again, these legendary artists, and obviously had a lot of firefighters and policemen and people like that at the 9/11 tribute. But even something like that was just like this, crazy big event. And this felt, just watching it and just the way you guys are describing it, it felt like an extension of like going to just like a great Tedeschi Trucks Band concert, but you're getting like introduced to more artists, and you're getting Derek and Susan like as a surrogate for TTB.
Yeah, a lot of proud, passionate fan bases. Like the obviously the Dave crowd. He always jokes that like there's 80,000 fans, and they all go to every show. But really, Dave's got a humongous following, and they're really passionate. The Goose's crowd is the same as like the Fish crowd now. It's just a younger crowd. Like Rebecca was saying, you're not wrong, Rebecca. It's a younger crowd, no doubt. It's a younger crowd, but they're really passionate fan base as well. So you get all these fan bases that are all in this one like house together, and obviously the Susan and Derek aspect. I don't know if Nathaniel Rateliff's like following is like going to see him in other states or other touring to go see him so much, but my first show at Red Rocks ever was Nathaniel Rateliff, so I went out to Colorado to see him. That was before I ever saw Tedeschi out there. Wow. Yeah, he's so good. The energy for Nathaniel Rateliff, right? Yeah. He's dancing on stage in that moment with Mavis Staples. Really,
I was shocked at how big his set list was, because everybody else was getting just a couple, and then I looked back and I'm like, wow, he really did play 10 songs. Like
his songs are also well short.
Yeah,
but he did get the second most time behind Dave, but his songs are a touch shorter, so it's like it's not really like song for song the time. I think he probably only played maybe 10 minutes more than Goose, but it seemed like it because because he played 10 more songs. You know.
They're like 3 minutes or 4. That's
exactly.
So
it seemed like everybody enjoyed playing with him too. When Susan got up there, she really had a good time. Mavis obviously had a good time. He brings a lot of positive energy, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And who was the tuba player? That guy was awesome.
Yeah, he's from
Preservation.
His dad started
Ben.
it. Yeah.
Oh Ben Jaffe.
Ben Jaffe. Yep.
Yeah, he was awesome. Like he wasn't on the bill, right? So like I know me, I was looking at it and it was like at any point the artist could change, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to necessarily drop out, but I wonder if there will be any surprises that they just didn't announce. And there really wasn't. I mean, he was like the only one that wasn't really like listed on the bill, but yeah, it was awesome.
Great pictures.
Yeah, these are from mostly Warren's social media, I believe.
Jeff Coughlin, the saxophone player for the Dave Matthews Band, posted a lot of the horn section pictures. So he's got pictures with Trombone Shorty and Ben on there. And
I thought it was funny they stopped to do a selfie.
Yeah, I saw it from where I was sitting. They did the selfie, and then it's on Jeff's Instagram now.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. Is like you could see everybody hasn't seen each other in a while. Like, when Trey come on, they're all like, "Oh, hey, we haven't seen." Everybody's like talking and like
that. Yeah, that must lead to the great vibes. It's like you forget that these people, like I was talking about how they go back, but they're actual friends with each other, so they're excited to just see their friends and do the thing that they love the most. Right? Think about your best friends and your good friends. What's the thing that you like to do with them the most? And you know what? Maybe thinking in this present moment, it's going to concerts. Mm-hmm. So you're with your friends doing the thing that you love the most, which is watching music live. And they're doing the thing that they love to do the most with their friends, which is playing music live. So, that's a great formula for a amazing show and night.
It made for an interesting weekend too with Dave, because you didn't know who was going to show up. I mean, he's notorious for bringing people out at the Garden every year. And with this weekend, with having so many people at his disposal, we're like, who's he going to bring out? And night one, he brought out Warren. And then night two, I thought for sure he was going to bring out Derek or Trey. And he ended up bringing out Bella Fleck. So, and that was absolutely amazing. But I didn't know if Bella was going to show up on Sunday then too. And so it was pretty cool to see who might also show up and who came in addition to the weekend that wasn't at the concert.
And I'm just so, as well as that, like, it has to be over like 20 songs. Yes.
It was amazing. And I really thought they were going to be pretty firm about the 11 o'clock cutoff. And
I was too.
Yeah.
And I saw they were like 20 minutes behind schedule.
By 11.
Yeah.
And then
so I was panicking looking at the train schedule because I'm like, I'm staying at the caucus. I'm like, I got to get over there.
I was like, man, still got to get a cab. I got to get back to Grand Central. Is this all going to work out? Well, I'm trying to still enjoy this while it's happening.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Extra innings. It's like there's extra innings to make that judgment with the train schedule.
Yeah, Rebecca, that was me at the Capitol. I had to actually leave a little early because I had to catch an 11:15.
People talking travel, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I loved is how everybody embraced Derek and Susan, because we love them, and how everybody was just so tickled to play with them. And they like Trombone Shorty, I think, played with almost everybody, right? I mean, they played with Dave, they played with Goose, they played with Warren.
Just about, yeah.
I think that's obviously done on purpose, and I think that's probably how they probably were fighting over performing and playing with Derek and Susan. So the best thing they could do is kind of like spread out Derek and Susan and give them throughout the show and give the fans like sprinkle Derek and Susan throughout the show seemed to be the strategy and the way of going about it. And same thing with Trombone Shorty. Like, it's hard to say that, at least for me, like the highlights are Derek and Susan and Warren and Trombone Shorty in that order, maybe.
Well, I mean, Trombone would seem to be like the secret weapon. All of a sudden, like he just brought this jazz, this New Orleans sound, and it was just.
If you haven't seen a full show of his, I highly recommend it. Yeah, he's at the Capitol Theater in March, and he's amazing. For
that was my third time seeing him this year. I love him.
Yeah, I love him. We saw him in Connecticut with Big Boy at the Outcast at that place, right? Yeah.
We saw him at up in Massachusetts a couple times. Yeah,
I saw
love
him. I saw him years ago. I think it was at the Santa Monica Pier in Santa Monica here in LA, like doing like one of those like free summer type shows. It was like years ago, and that was super cool to see.
I actually saw him New Year's Eve at the Capitol, and it was him, North Mississippi All Star, and JJ Gray.
Yes. Yep. Cool show. I was there.
2013 Twilight concert series at Pacific Park in Santa Monica. Maybe that was it.
Wow.
You know, you ever see the picture of him at like 4 years old with Bo Diddley?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like that guy was destined for greatness. He's like, you know, he's 4 years old. First of all, who's playing the trombone at 4 years old?
Really?
The thing's bigger than he is.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that. It's amazing. He's so super talented. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was in Raleigh, after the show was over, I ran into the band Tedeschi, and I said to Elizabeth, who I absolutely love, and I said to Elizabeth, I was a little tipsy, but I said to her, I went up to her and I was like, you know, you're like my favorite person in the world. I was like, and definitely my favorite trombone player. I was like, well, maybe Trombone Shorty. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying to her. I'm just like babbling stupid shit. And she's like, oh my God, Trombone Shorty is amazing. Like you even put me in this category. And I'm like, you know, it's right there.
She's definitely up there. I would love to have seen her up on that stage too, right next to him.
That shot right there is phenomenal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I still love Elizabeth though. Boy, I love to see her up there doing the same thing.
It makes you appreciate when being a Tedeschi Trucks band fan makes you appreciate other music, and then when you see other music, you come back to appreciating. Like, you know, we're gonna appreciate everything Elizabeth does that much more. Like after going to that show or listening to that show and just being in a trombone mood, so to speak. I think we're excited. Like,
what is it? What is the difference? Like, so we all saw it last night, right? We all seen a bunch of Tedeschi shows. Elizabeth plays, the whole place goes crazy, right? And it's not that when Kevin plays or when Efren plays that they don't, but right, admittedly, something about the trombone at a Tedeschi show when she plays, the crowd does get louder than in the other horned instruments. Last night with trombone, or Sunday night with Trombone Shorty, same thing. Like everyone's around the guy.
It's the slide as the
it's just that weird that sound.
He's like this.
The
He's
slide.
like this. It's nonstop with him. He's crazy.
Well, not just the physical aspect, the sound. Like Derek's slide guitar, it's like one instrument that you can hit every note in between every note, so mimicking the voice.
Yeah, I can't remember names. What's like the same thing with Tab when what's her name when she plays?
Natalie Cressman?
Yeah, when she plays. I mean, the place erupts, you know? It's something about that instrument that there's some magic there, you know?
Yeah.
There's something deep, guttural, bluesy sound to it that matches
that jazzy,
up well.
That New Orleans sound comes out, and everybody's, you know, we're all Cajun for it.
And I think her chemistry with Derek is its own unique thing in itself. He has his own unique, I think, relationship and chemistry with Kebby, with Ephraim, with Judd, you know, with all the horn players, and something special and uniquely bluesy. I keep coming back to that with, I think, Elizabeth specifically, and you know, their styles matching.
I love when Trombone Shorty was playing. At one point, Derek was like, oh my God, like he couldn't believe it. And you very rarely see Derek make a lot a facial expressions. He'll make like, but he was like, Jesus Christ. Like
he didn't really get a solo on Come Together. And I think it just kind of, it just didn't happen. And it was kind of okay. Like Trombone Shorty. Right. Because there were moments watching it on the stream. I'm like, okay, who's next? Who's going to step in? Who's going to do their thing? And there were, I don't think everyone for time purposes could have had a chance to get their moment. But Trombone Shorty certainly took his, and I think Derek had no problem with that. I don't think Derek goes to bed that night and be like, I wish I would have got a solo on that. He got plenty. He got plenty of attention. You know,
he didn't have to prove nothing.
But it is interesting, I think, and I don't know if there's like a stat on this, but I think when Derek plays like a festival or like a collaborative type show, does he always bust out the slide guitar first to kind of like introduce himself? Because I think he played slide pretty quickly. Like that was
Yeah,
whatever the first song was. It's almost like let's go right to like what I'm quintessentially
because
known
he
to announce himself.
He was
it was with Goose. Yeah, it was with Goose.
Hunger Site. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was playing slide on that.
Yeah, it was the first note of the song. It's got a very recognizable riff. So obviously, Derek bringing it to the next level with the slide was like, that's what I mean. Trey does a great version with him at Radio City, but it's just different, obviously, because the guitars sound different between Trey and
and I think like when you play slide and what songs they do, like it's definitely influenced by when Derek and Susan know they're going to be playing to a more broad audience and they're not going to be playing to their own fans. Like I was thinking about what possible Tedeschi Trucks Band songs could we possibly hear. I wasn't expecting any, but the things I came back to were like maybe something like The Storm, thematically, and they've kind of played it in that context before, I think. Obviously they played 700 Houses of Susan, but for TTB songs, I guess maybe Midnight in Harlem they could attempt because it's their signature song. But short of The Storm or Midnight,
I was hoping for it. Yeah.
Well, it said acoustic, right? So I
exactly. The schedule said acoustic, and that's
I thought maybe we get I Can Feel You Smiling, right? Acoustic, like
right?
That
something like that. Something like that could have been acoustic because that wouldn't eat up that much time. They forgot to play that. No, it's all good. Yeah, I was definitely like always hoping to hear a TTB song, but I'm not complaining.
Well, I mean, it must be hard to like you walk into that place and there's, so much so easily to go one way to another with a show like that, and they were like I go back to it. They were able to pull it off. And that sound and the lights and everything just was amazing. And I still can't believe they're able to do that.
I was off to the side and my sound was a little mushy. Much better on the stream when I went back to the stream. But I was side stage. I was completely off to the side. So I don't fault them for that.
I was just gonna say that there are plenty of fans who may not have been Susan or Derek fans or TTB fans who were at the show, but like plenty of them are looking up TTB songs probably right now as we speak, learning about I Am the Moon and all these different projects. What were you gonna say, Rebecca? Slight delay.
I don't think she could hear you.
Maybe not. Anyway, anyone else got anything else you guys want to share or talk about?
I'm sorry, I'm frozen.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm just wondering, after all this collaboration with the new, album they're supposedly working on, if they're going to bring anybody that they played with, saying, you know what, that sounds good. We should add that to our. Ask them to come play with us on
double trombones.
Yeah,
Kevy would want that. Kevy would want 2 trombones.
It's interesting, like what after this collaboration, if there's anything they're going to be like, let's bring Dave over and let's do this, or let's bring,
or the other way around. Maybe Goose, invites Derek to guest on a track.
I feel like
or
that
Susan.
Yeah,
I feel like an invite to Derek Trucks playing on your album is almost like, is it sort of you have to literally ask him to do it if you're an artist or a band or something, but it's almost like obligatory. Almost, I feel like it's like, I don't know, like of course they, everybody wants. That's what I was saying about the show. Everybody wants to play with Derek and Susan. That's why I had to.
Who wouldn't want the best?
They had to share them throughout the show. Like even just having conversations on the podcast with Gabe and Kevy and off the podcast with other, rubbing shoulders with other people, just like they're such huge fans of Derek and Susan. They see them, as for the same level of talent that like we do. Like they're fans too. It's just so wild that we all just like appreciate this music so much, no matter what our background is, no matter if we play, if we sing, if we're just like fans. We're getting a show over there, Bob.
Yeah. Things are falling. I had to charge mid show here.
Yeah,
I'm about to run out of juice.
Cool.
It's fun to see Dave and Sue's relationship too. It's cool. It's like they have, they're always smiling at each other. And,
yeah, that angel was we keep using
that
the
was
word
awesome.
Moment. It was a moment. A moment is the word I keep using. That was definitely a moment.
YouTube is really good.
I don't know if YouTube is going to be chopping I'm chopping these up, or people already have, into like the individual clips from the stream, so that you get the high quality version. But if somebody does that, if they haven't already, like that, just the Susan and Dave Angel, like that's going to get 1 billion views. I mean, not literally 1 billion, but it's gonna, that will get likes and attention and comments. And I mean, it was a special moment, and I kind of concurred with a lot of you guys echoing the same things about Dave Matthews, and maybe not being my bread and butter favorite artist, but my favorite parts were the covers and the collaborations that he did throughout the show. As well, for sure. And those made for special moments. Like we all have a lot of respect for Dave and putting this together and being a hardworking musician and for so long and in the business and all that, and keeping going and all that. Like, respect.
Well, I was shocked to see, like I said, I haven't seen Dave since the 90s, but like only 3 original members left, and I was just like, wow, it was kind of interesting, and to see how his sound has developed since the last time I saw him, with the keyboard, with Tim now in the band. He was always on the studio albums, but he always did him and the Dave and him shows. I've seen a couple times, but I never, it's been nice to see him on the as part of the band now, and the horn section and everything. It was very
great.
It was very fun. It got me thinking, like, well, maybe this summer when he comes back up to Massachusetts, I'll definitely go check it out. So he had, it was a great sound, and his drummer's just a freaking beast.
Yeah,
that guy's just amazing.
Carter,
yeah, he's just a beast up there. Like, you can hear him, like, and all the little things he does, and it was funny because I actually, I was too busy watching everything. When I was watching the video this morning, like, he's funny too. He's like, all the faces he makes, and the things
he was having a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was like having a blast. I was like, he was enjoying.
Maybe we'll get him on the next album. We'll have 3 drummers.
Yeah, there we go. Let's do 6. Every drummer from the show. But
sweet.
But they definitely got to put this out as an album. This will be a great box set.
Yeah, I agree. Fantastic.
Same.
And that a nice vinyl box set, and I'm telling you, that thing will sell like hotcakes. That'd be.
Yeah, I had a buddy that went, and he's like fans of all the bands, but like, I mean, I wouldn't say any of them was his favorite. And he sent me or called me like the next night and was like, dude, do you realize what we just saw? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I couldn't even sleep that night. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I slept on the train on the way home fine, but it was pretty magical as far as kind of what I witnessed. And this is a magical year for Tedeschi as far as how many times I've seen them. And this was definitely, we always joke about the last one being the best, but it was like as good as any of the best Tedeschi shows I've seen all year. Just really good energy in that place, and amount of time that you had. Like, I thought for ticket prices, anybody that was upset, it was like, yeah, 5 hours of music for $200. I mean, sign me up for that anytime you want.
And it's going to a good cause too.
It's a benefit.
A lot of people donated. I think the venue donated. The venue itself had a lot to do with it. So, yep. So, it was for a good cause.
I'm sure they'll post some kind of, like, eventually once stuff gets tallied, how much like actual impact. Like, I'm sure those sorts of statistics people like to see that shared. So I'm sure it was quite considerable. I donated early on, like before the stream had even started, just so I didn't feel bad if I was going to the bathroom during the vignettes. I was like, I donated, so I don't have to. I'm not obligated to see. I'm not obligated to watch every minute from start to finish. I did my duty. I did what I needed to do early on. Got that out of the way. And no, it was a great show and a great cause, and just like
for us Tedeschi lunatics, it was, let's be honest, it was one last opportunity to see them before the year was over.
And look at us with no tickets. No tickets. I've got no tickets for Tedeschi Trucks.
You got to go to Sun, Sand, and Soul or the Asheville show.
Yep. I gather it's East Coast time, and it's getting a little later for you guys.
For me, I got a jet.
Yeah, do it.
Sure.
I appreciate it. I don't know if anyone else had any parting words or anything else you guys wanted to mention before I let you go. If anything else we need to mention or cover or talk about related to the MSG show.
Talk with everybody, and it's great to know we're so many of us in the house all have the same exact experience in a place that's a mecca for many of us. From Jerry days and all that and all the way to this weekend. Yeah. And like I said, I've already watched it 3 times since I've been home. It's something that's definitely in my heart.
It's
for a long time.
Never miss a Sunday show.
It's nice to
never miss a Sunday show.
Never miss a Sunday show, and that was the Sunday show.
Why is the Sunday show
amongst other people that get it? Because I'm the only.
So basically, back in the Grateful Dead days, when they used to do 3 shows, Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. What happened was a lot of people would party Friday, Saturday, Sunday, be like, "Oh man, I can't make it," and so that's when they're like, "Okay, we're going to make these Sunday shows a little bit special." That's when they used to pull out the stop. So then it was like, you never miss a freaking Sunday show, So that's when so.
Yep, something special usually would happen on a Sunday show.
That's the show that I saw in LA. The TTB show was the second night. It was a Sunday, and that was the night Tim came out and Los Lobos and guests. So, and that ended up being like a special last night Sunday show. Like there's something.
And if you look at TTB's schedule, to be honest with you, they don't play too many Sunday shows throughout their calendar. Yeah. It's very it must be family time, but I'm always like, they never have because it is that big thing with the dead, and now Fish does the same, and don't miss a Sunday show, never miss a Sunday show. But Tedeschi doesn't play that many Sunday shows.
No, but Bethel was a Sunday show. Sunday. So I definitely made sure to get there because I'm like, it's a Sunday. So
they open with the letter, which I've been chasing all year long.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Great.
It's magic.
Pure magic. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time and the stories and the recap. I feel like I was there from watching. I can't wait to. That's what I'm going to do probably immediately is put on
what you gotta do.
One of the TTB performances. I want to go back to these changes. I got to hear that. I got to hear the Warren Derrick moment. Let's dive into that. On that note, thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. And I'll talk to you guys all soon.
Thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Thanks, Adam. See you guys.
Later. I'm going to try not to boot myself out as well. That was super cool. That was super fun. I hope everyone's doing okay out there. That was episode 182, recapping Soulshine, New York City, Madison Square Garden. The recap of that. The link to donate is in the YouTube video description. I'll get that in the audio version in the description when I put out that as well. I hope everyone's doing okay out there. Thank you for the gang for coming on there. That was super fun. I love getting 5, 6, 7 people in there, so I don't really have to do anything. I just let you guys steer the conversation. That works for me. At Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Definitely subscribe on all the platforms, the audio, the YouTube, all that. Patreon.com/TTB Podcast to support. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast.com for everything related to the show. AdamChoit.com for everything else I'm working on. Tedeschi Trucks Band.com is their official website. They might have some merch. I think they got some merch sales going on, seasonal end of Christmas sales and stuff. So join the Swamp Family fan club and get discounts on merch as well, I think is going on right now. I want to share the MSG Soulshine website as well, because that links to soulshinemsg.com. I was only clicking on it 10,000 times in the last 3 days. But yeah, soulshinemsg.com is that. But I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you, the band, the crew, the MSG crew. Yeah, we were talking about all the hard work that you guys put in. That's appreciated too. To TTB's crew, the great year of music, all that, the fans, podcast guests, supporters. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's talk soon. Peace.